thank you for joining us this evening. We've got a good crowd. We have a couple of area leaders who had prior commitments, and then we have one that was sick, and past director Pat sent an apology that she was sick and she just couldn't sit in on the meeting. So you may want to check on her. We've got a special guest tonight in our Vice President Brian, which at the appropriate time will lead the discussion. I'll close my screen so everybody can see everyone as we have that discussion. This evening, we're going to, in the next 90 minutes or less, talk about year-to-date results. We're going to have a discussion with Vice President Brian concerning the GMA and the group leader and the area leader interactions. We're going to then hear from Richard Castillo. Guy is going to help us with the new GAT Chairperson's Awards. We're going to talk about our January webinar that's coming up. We're going to talk about building a plan for just a little bit. And then we're going to begin to discuss and examine our Constitution Area 1 GAT using the global membership approach. We've got our team. We're just going to have to build a vision and build a plan for success for the next year. And then we're going to have to just work that plan. But we're better than we've ever been before. These are the results as of December 31st, 2021. Membership, we lost 710 members in the first 6 months. We had 5 months of positive membership growth. And then that last month, those December drops got us, but that's 86% better than the previous year. We had minus 5,000 and something the previous year, which is about our 10-year average, a little over 5,000 lost. So we're 86% better. We're headed in the right direction. New clubs, we chartered 33 new clubs. This is a little bit of an area where we could use some improvement because that was 40 fewer clubs than the previous year. Charter members was 1,075, and that was down 1,115. If we had chartered the same amount of clubs this year as we did last year, then we would have been plus 300 instead of minus 710. We're not going to cry over spilled milk. We're going to take the stats like they are. We're going to learn from them, and we're moving forward. Members existing clubs, we took in 13,801. That's a 57% increase over last year. And our dropped members was 17,594. That's 60 fewer than the previous year. One area where there was tremendous improvement is reinstated clubs. We reinstated 318 clubs. That's clubs that was canceled last year due to financial suspension, 318. And that was an improvement of 310 clubs over the previous year. And so because of that, we was able to reinstate 1,229 members, which was up 51% from the previous year. Service was up 7%. We impacted over 15 million lives in 6 months. And that's with only 43% of our clubs reporting. That's 2% better than last year for the first 6 months. And so if we could, in fact, get that reporting up closer to that 70-75 mark, then we would end up probably this year serving 45 million people, recording 45 million people served instead of the 15. And then LCIF donations, 3,422,177, and that is 15% more than last year in CA1. And so really, other than the new clubs, everything is on the upswing, everything's green, and we're just going to learn and continue to move on. Questions, comments, concerns about the stats through December 31st? Hearing none, it is time for us to have a visit from our Vice President, Brian. Vice President Brian, we're proud to have you here, and we're here to discuss and let you lead the discussion. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Jerome. Will you make me a host so I can share my screen just for a minute?
I'd love to. Well, let me get over here to participants.
I'm a very visual person too, and this is more for me than anything, so I know where I'm heading as well. So thank you, Jerome, much appreciate it. So where I want to go a little bit today, I first of all want to thank Jerome and allowing me to be here as well. I'm very hands-on, and I want to know how we as executive officers can help you guys out with this momentum. And so what I want to talk about here is first of all, I want to talk about CA1 and CA2, our progress as of today. And then I want to talk about, what happened this first half of the season of the Lionistic year with the training of the group leaders. I want to hear input. I want to hear sharing. I want to hear how can we make this better? And then I want to talk about what are we going to do the second half? What are we going to do with the DGE trainings of the GMA? How can we help you? Will we do the same as last year? Is there a better method of things to do? And then how will we move this forward in the next year with the 22-23 district governors and GMA, and that's how we're going to build success. So in starting out with, I want to talk about the CA1 and the CA2 progress. I cannot thank you guys enough for where we are at. I'm a numbers person, and Jerome knows I look at that dashboard each and every single day, and I see on a daily basis on how we're doing. And first 5 months were awesome. We have never had a year like that for the last 10 years. And we all know December's tough. We all know that June is tough, but we're gonna get around that. I truly believe that this is the year we can do it. We're gonna do it this year, and if not, we're gonna bust some butt and we're gonna do it next year or the year after. We got a great opportunity here with Doug and myself and Patty. I have never had a positive membership in CA1 or CA2 since I've been a Lion, and it's been a long time. As Jerome said, we're currently today at a 54-12 net above last year. That's a huge increase. That's absolutely huge in being able to move forward on what we did. And granted, yet we're at a minus 862, but we're starting to turn the corner again and slowly getting back into the positive again. And North America, we're 5111 net above where we were a year before. Those are awesome numbers, and I am very excited about them, and everybody is. I don't have an excuse as to why we're doing that good other than this team right here. This team right here, and pushing and driving and passion and everything is awesome. So again, I can't thank you guys enough for your consistency and help and working together, and Jerome and Rob and everybody. This is a whole team effort. So I do want to get into, I did hear some things about, I always know we can do better. This was the first year that we combined you guys in with group leaders. And I apologize for some of the messaging maybe and organization of, what's the responsibility of group leaders, what's the responsibility of area leaders and stuff. And I think because this was the first time, because we kind of threw it out there, there's a lot of room that we can have for improvement. And that's why I wanted to talk with you guys tonight. I want to have this a free-flowing discussion from each and every one of you. How was it working with your group leaders? This was very difficult because the group leaders have an international audience in their class, and you guys have your area in the class. So that's tough. In hindsight, I don't know if I would have changed things or not. I would have probably had a little better layout maybe of organization of who's responsible for what. I do want to know, how was it with your VDGs from your area? Are they catching on? Are they understanding? CA1 and CA2 has a couple year leap on the rest of the world. And I do want to know, and you guys are the leaders in this GMA approach, and I want to know how things are going with you on a standpoint of what you think the VDGs are doing. What would you have done different in this whole process? So I open up the floor to everybody to give me your opinions on, the good, the bad, and the ugly of how things went. I truly do want to hear. I want to know, and this is being recorded for Patty. I don't know what she's going to be doing next year with the group of group area leaders and group leaders, but knowledge is powerful. And so I want to hear from you guys. How did you guys think the first 6 months of the year happened? Was it good for you to know what the group leaders were doing? Was it not good? I'm all ears. Who wants to start?
I can start, Brian.
Thanks, Connie.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
Hello.
I think that the first 6 months went okay, considering what you had said. There was a lot of kerfuffle going on, trying to figure out who was doing what and where and whatever. I was able to give 2 sessions to my group. The first session was very poorly attended. However, almost all of them viewed the recording. So I was real happy that we recorded. So I think that's something for the future that would be necessary. And if I would wish for something, it would be nice to know if the other groups are being recorded, so that if I can't attend a group meeting, district governor elect school group meeting, that I could sit in. And if they were available, I didn't know that. So that might be one thing. The other thing was the scheduling was just very confusing. I would go out to the calendar and there wouldn't be anything out there, but then I would hear that people were having meetings. And so I don't know if that was clear enough on how to do that effectively. That was again frustrating. I know, I think PID Mark had a meeting that was like 7 o'clock in the morning and I just couldn't attend. I was on my way to work. So those things are, understanding a little bit more about what are the needs of the groups so that we could schedule appropriately as area leaders. And otherwise, I think the content was great. I think that they accepted it. A lot of them knew already, which was a score, because that means it wasn't new. And it was almost like a reaffirmation. Got a lot of support. I actually included my GMA champions in with it as well, so that the groups would know who the contact people were. And we went in thinking there should be no surprises going forward. So all in all, I think it went pretty well considering it was shoved out there, and we kind of had to figure it all out. So those are my thoughts.
We're good at that. We're good at shoving things out there, and we have smart enough people to figure it out on our own, which is why we have all you guys there, which is good and why it's successful, even with some of the things. Thanks, Connie. Other comments?
Brian, I'll go next. It's Mark. Just from the perspective of serving as a group leader and an area leader, I get some different feedback from both sides, obviously. On the group leader side for the DGEs, I'm asking them in our monthly check-ins, what they're hearing, what they're learning about the process, those that are here in CA1. And getting good feedback from them that they're well-versed in what their requirements are. We did have our build a plan session this morning with the New England group, the 6 states that I'm responsible for as an area leader. I'm sorry, we had it yesterday morning. We had the rest of our meeting today, but that went very well. We had really good participation, very active and engaged group. And I do copy all of the other group leaders on my meeting itineraries so that they know that, so that they're able to fit it into their schedule. They can just dial into the Zoom meeting and listen in. And I also share the recording link with them afterwards, and the materials that I've covered, should I have customized them from what was available through the LCI Resource Center. So communication wise, I think maybe a little slow out of the gate last fall, but picking up steam, and we're already encouraged about setting up the next session for building success, which will probably be in the mid-March, early April timeframe. But I think the group on the area leader side is going well. The 6 states are working well together, and they have experience doing that. So I think we're just going to keep moving forward at a good pace. I think it's going well right now.
Did you have many group leaders join in on your session, or other people as well? Are they coming in, and are they at least listening and learning what GMA is about?
I have not had any join today. We did one in the fall, in November. We did Build a Vision. We did that virtually, and that was we had a couple of the group leaders participate in that. And when we did it live, the first session on building a team, that was a little iffy because we were just trying to get accustomed to the combined hybrid and in-person kind of setup. So that was a little bit smaller attendance, but we keep pushing it out there for them. And I have some other group leaders and GAT folks from other parts of the world that are reaching out to me, wanting to get copies of the recordings so that they can view those.
Good. Good. And again, this is a good cookie cut and a good template that other constitutional areas can go by as they move forward with their stuff too. Like I said, we got a couple-year jump on them. Other comments and problems? Again, we want to make this better and give Patty an option as well as to hearing some of this feedback.
This is Miriam.
Yeah, Miriam.
I've had 2 meetings with the group. My group, since it's kind of split, one part is in English and then the other part is in Spanish. Into Area 3. So I've been invited 2 times to the meeting of the Area 3, none of the other area. So it would be nice to have a schedule so I can make an approach to the person who is in that area so that I can also be part of their meeting by invitation, of course. But the meetings that I did attend were, there was a full attendance. So they were there, all participating, and they were presenting on the second session, presenting different items. But since I don't have like the curriculum or the documentation of information that they're working on at a given moment, I don't know, how much they know or how much they've gone through by the time I'm invited to the second meeting. So I'm going to be nice to share the agenda with us so we know where we're at and the different months and different times. But all in all, it was a good session. And I was asked just yesterday by Miriam Luna, who has the group, to talk about GMA as well. So I'll be doing that with her also.
Good. I'm hoping you guys will get asked a lot to help participate in some GMA stuff with the groups. I'll bring back and circle back to John too. And this is very valuable for Noel and the whole LCI staff. But I'll talk to John too on at least giving some summaries or something that's out there that if you guys participate in something, knowing a heads up of what's the discussion will be about. Thank you, Miriam.
Vice President Brian, we've heard about some cooperation between the area leaders and the group leaders, but because there's not really, there may be 2 or 3 different group leaders in a particular area. There's very few of our area leaders have a lot of collaboration. They're sort of working in silos at this point in time, and we haven't been able to collaborate. Now, Polly has done a great job in Canada with her area, but I think the rest of the group would say that they have limited contact with the group leaders because of the variety of people that the group leaders are involved with that may not be outside, that may be outside their area.
I think from my viewpoint, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong or think we could do better, I think what we maybe should have done is really been very clear and very concise and maybe pair up these group leaders, you go with these area leaders, and you area leaders, you go with these group leaders. I think to have it very defined and very clear, I think would help out a great deal in making this better for next year.
Vice President Brian, this is Polly. Oh, sorry, Winster, do you want to go ahead?
Go ahead, Polly. Go ahead.
What I have found is I have the same area that I did last year. So I was fortunate enough to be working with the same districts in more than 1 year. And I found that those districts which embrace GMA process and jump on the bandwagon and actually follow the process, they're showing the very positive results this year. Because they've got the district teams, they've got the vice governors involved in the entire process, and they're looking into the future. While I still have perhaps a couple of districts which, for whatever reason, are resisting the GMA process, I've been repeating at every meeting the successes in the districts that have shown growth. So hopefully, will turn around some of the ones that have been resisting. Certainly, a couple of them have now come on board to say, well, if it works in those districts, maybe it's worth my while to try it out. So they're more open-minded. So I'm hopeful, but by the end of this year, that we'll get all of them on board. So that's kind of a work in progress as it is. As far as working with the group leaders, I've got 2 group leaders that are North American. So certainly they're in the same time zone as I am, and so have been able to participate more actively. One of the 3 group leaders is from Australia, and with the time difference, it has not been possible, or he has not been able to attend the meetings that I've invited him to. And certainly all the meetings that I have with the group in the area, I've extended the invitation out to all the group leaders. So in addition to a group leader that is in the Pacific Northwest, but does not have any of the districts within the area, and he's been jumping into the meetings as well. So certainly, that is open to them. And I find that from the feedback from some of the vice district governors, while they appreciate the international flavor of the groups that they're in, they are frustrated with the fact that while it's nice to visit with the district governor-elects from India, from Austria, from all the other countries, when it comes to actually learning and working, it was frustrating because of the time difference and having to attend meetings at all different times of the day and night. And when they come into discussion, the cultural differences makes it very frustrating. And at times they would get into issues of arguments as well as, well, our system works better than yours, and becomes very possessive from that perspective. And so the thought came out from some of the vice governors that perhaps from a working perspective, as far as learning and preparing for the actual work as a district governor, that perhaps consideration may be given to the groups being within their immediate area. So they have the same thinking, the same understanding, the same cultural background. But again, how do we incorporate the international flavor of our association? And they like the international flavor, but what is the best balance and how best to put a formula together and the groups together that will achieve both. So that is something that they've kind of thrown out to say, well, there may be a way that we can do it, that we can step out of the box and think of how we can do that, achieving both ends as well. So that was quite interesting. It was a good discussion that we had.
Polly, that's really great input. And I plan on running for president again another 5 years from now, and that's going to be very valuable for me. Yeah, right. And in regards to your districts, so those that embrace it are doing a good job, and those that are not aren't. I'll share with you guys some information that we've seen at the board meetings with the pilot sites and the numbers. I don't know if you've seen them, Jerome, or your group has seen them, but when you look at the pilot sites globally on how their percentages are so much better than the non-pilot. This is something that can work if you embrace it. So I agree with you, Polly, that I think that's a very important thing. And my next question I'll talk about in a few minutes is how we're gonna get them to embrace a little better too for what the officers are looking at doing here, coming up with some of the roles of the district governor. Thank you, Polly.
BP Brian, the
Yeah,
Winston here. Just at the beginning, I'm new at this job since and when we came in, it was a little confusing. I don't know, it was because of my area. I have a very different leadership style from what my predecessor had, but my area was very confused about how and what needed to be done and when that things needed to be done, and also another confusion was too many communications in a way that they were getting, so they were getting confused at what I was sending, what LCI was sending, and also what the group leader was sending to them. So we needed to have a fresh off, throw everything out of the window and explaining exactly who's doing what, when was done, etc. Because they were totally confused. For example, they were not aware of what needed to be done. The district governor, that was the district governor's job to get all those 4 sessions last year, no this year. They were thinking that the current district governor were doing the sessions to prepare for this year. I don't understand what they were thinking, but they didn't understand that this 4 sessions that we're doing this year were towards the first vice district governor to prepare them for next year. So it was a lot of confusion at the beginning. But then, for example, in my case, I have a very great relationship with another area leader, and we're doing a lot of things together with Richard Stevenson. So we have been tag team with bouncing ideas out of each other, and it has been working great. We had a very different areas. His area is more rural, my area is more urban. So we have been doing great job mixing and matching those two different spectrum of the whole thinking, and being successful, I believe.
Thank you, Winston. That's very valuable information as well. OJ.
Vice President Bryan, that does lead to the discussion about a lot of your district governor elects don't understand that. They know about the group leaders, but they never really bought in or understood what the area leaders were to do. And as I was talking with past director Gary Anderson today, Gary says he had several as a group leader that reached out to him and says, who is this area leader and why do I have to attend this meeting? And there's too many meetings and things are on top of one another, and it's just not as organized and streamlined for the participants, the district governor elects, as maybe it should be, understanding who's supposed to be doing what at what times.
Thank you, Jerome. That does help out. And it's all about shifting and adjusting too. I want to make sure, and one of the reasons for this call is I want to see how we might be able to better the situation a little bit the second half here as well.
And before I forget, also it's great the GAT calendar that we have. It is great if everyone will use it, because we have a lot of information there for all the groups that we can attend, that we can join, but not all the groups are using and posting their meetings and their training sessions, so we can be aware when that's happening too.
Cool. Thank you, Winston. OJ, you had some comments?
Yeah, I like a swig of that rum and coke that you have there.
Yeah, sorry, it's just Diet Coke.
VP Brian, I just want to reiterate what and not follow up, but agree with what Polly's saying. In my multiple district A and multiple district N, they're of the same opinion. Out of those 14 governors that I have, I've got 5 group leaders. And I'm not attending every session. And the only 2 that I've had contact with is ID Mark Lyon and PID Tom Gordon. And I've never received a response from anybody else. And that's fine and dandy. And I know that with this Zoom situation there's meetings all the time going on. But that's, and I think it's great, this process. What's happened here in M and N, I use the GAT teams in both areas. And we have the second vice district governors in with the first vice district governors on this GMA training. And we have completed both on both multiple districts. And they're very enthused that the second vice governors, that they are now part of something. They feel like they belong. So we're creating that team approach, bringing them in, and we have them ready for their year now, hopefully. So anyways, just like I said, to back up Polly's statement there, and to say that I have 5 group leaders, and I think that's just way too much for 14.
Thank you, OJ. Much appreciated. And the officers for the next couple of days are going to talk about some of the roles of that second vice district governor, first vice district governor, and having a true district governor team to work through this process. Thanks, OJ. I think we've got a good feel on how we might have made things better. It comes down to a lot of communication, a lot of organization. So we'll talk about that a bit on how we might be able to make that better. So if I can move on to the next area, this will help us out for the rest of the year. And I want your input on this as well. Now, your long-range planning, we got a meeting tomorrow, and we're gonna get district governor-elects to make sure that they work with their district governor goals for this year. We gotta make sure that we're not stepping on toes, as we've always tried to talk for the entire year. But I think the really hard part is gonna be that transition, where you guys are working on the process with them for their year while they're continuing to work on this year's governor's goals. And when they do their goals, it should be a subset or a branch off of what the current district governor's goals are. So that's something we're going to work with long range planning, and how do we make this transition better? Because we want the district governor elects, the first vice district governors, and included in that the second vice district governors, as you're doing, OJ, and make them work as a team with continuity, but having them start early, which is, we don't wait till July 1st. So how do you guys see the training going with your district governor elects for the second year? What type for the second half of the year? What type of adjustments do we make from last year, maybe for those that have been around from last year? Or how do we define this better? Do we let you guys just really focus on doing what you're doing with GAT? If group leaders want to join in and just see what's going on, fine, but just let you guys control that process so that everybody is ready with GMA for the beginning of the year, and let the group leaders do their things for the first 3 weeks in February, and then contact their groups when they want to on generic stuff. How do you see the training going for the second half, and any ideas and thoughts you have for me on how we can make things better for you, but more important, how we can make things better for the district governor elects? And I'd open that up for comments.
Well, Vice President Brian, I'll jump in since I haven't said anything so far.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey, so when it comes to district, first of all, the GMA process this year, working with the area, the group leaders, I think is leaps and bounds better than last year. So we're on the right track. I think we've got some messaging issues, like you said, and I think we've got some cultural issues. I've heard that one before. When it comes to goals, though, you've kind of opened the door there. And I think even when we talk with LCI, I still hear the term district governor goals. And whether we call it district goals or district governor goals, we're still treating them as district governor goals. And I think we need to move this process one full step above this, is that district goals are not necessarily limited to 1 year or one governor. I threw this at Michigan's Council of Governors, and the overwhelming pluses that I got out of that was just extraordinary. So really, on an annual basis, we should be working through our goals. You know, the district governor concentrates on them. The next year's district governor is going to pick up on them when they, you know, if for this year's goals that haven't been completed. The process of entering goals should be more of a dynamic one, I feel, is that, listen, if a goal doesn't work this year, or we find out in say January that a goal is just not, it just doesn't fit our district anymore, we should be able to drop it off the roadmap and pick it up. Somehow I think we've got to introduce accountability, and I understand that. And when it comes to membership and clubs, for sure, that's going to be pretty much the district governor or that district GAT team that year. But I think we need to move more into custom goals, and those custom goals should be able to span more than 1 year and more than one governor, and work more as a team.
Thank you, Dave. In business, I set goals for 1 or 2 years out. There's nothing wrong in saying that, we're going to do this percentage over this year, and this percentage next year, and this percentage the third year, and it's a living thing that just keeps moving. But that would get their mindset saying that this isn't necessarily, my 1 year. You're right. We got to look at how can we make our district better future, short range and long range. Appreciate the comments, Dave.
Vice President Brian, internally, we've got to get away from this DG goals and just message district goals. And even when you did yours here, you talk about in the terms of district governor goals, But if we'll talk about district goals that are set by the visionaries who come together during the build a vision, then we're going to long-term be where we are. The other thing that we need to consider is the original PowerPoint that we put together for the build a vision team is good for the first year, but the second year needs to be slightly different, where that we put our goals down there, we put what we have achieved, and we change some of the questions and discussion so that moving forward, it's a review of what we did last year, how much we accomplished, and then a discussion of where our strengths, our weaknesses are, and what we need to work on for the next year or two.
I think that's a great comment for Noel and some of the staff here, Jerome, that, you know, the first year is different. This is the first time that we've done it in building a vision, and maybe incorporated in some of that vision is now pull your visions out from last year and your goals out from last year so that they know this is a continuation process. And now how would you make these better? How would you tweak these to improve on them from the year that you did last year? Because the thing I'm worried about is they're thinking this is going to be a one and done. This is a continued thing that they got to look at every single year, and they got to start that process early. And I don't want them to forget that or misinterpret that.
Ryan, I got the team together, the district, the first vice governors together to talk a little bit about doing their plan, their district goals. And I asked them to include the second vice governor, and we still don't have the elected coming in second vice governor, but I think we should all be together. And then I asked them to invite their secretary and treasurer for the year so they could take notes and we could discuss things and we could start, you know, talking about what their goals are and have some inclusiveness in there with the rest of the team. Because if they don't have that buy-in, then they're not going to work together. And it's been really good. I think they're talking outside of the meetings, talking about some of the things that they want to work on, and they're coming and asking questions. So I think they will be on the right track, but they do need to work together. We used to have to sign remember we used to have to sign the district goals. It would go to first, second, and we got away from that. And sometimes I see people that are handing goals in that haven't been talked about with the rest of the team.
Thank you, Marion. Those are some very, very important pieces. The thing that worries me the most is second half of the year is the misunderstanding with their goals and how that's going to be a continued process. I also want you guys to remind them that we're just not going to look at these goals and shove them underneath the rug like we've done in the past. We're going to follow up on these goals all year long and into the next year too, when you redo it again. So I think those are some very important pieces we're counting on you guys a lot on too. And having that buy-in from the whole team, not just the governor-elect. It's got to be the whole team, and their teams are going to be different. Some are going to be the cabinet, some are going to be the treasurer, secretary, some's going to be a different team, but they got to have that team bit concept. Thank
If
you,
I
Marion.
might, Vice President.
Yeah, Randy.
I think I'm finding out here in Area G that I get comments like, well, I'm working on my goals. Not my team, not me and somebody else. I am working on my goals. And I'm finding that they're not actually thinking about building their cabinet other than they know who their second vice district governor is going to be, their first vice district governor. And they kind of know who's going to get elected at this point to the second vice district governor's chair. But they haven't started thinking about who's going to chair what committee, who's going to be the secretary, who's going to be the treasurer, because they're year-to-year appointments out here. I think that's one of the obstacles that I personally have to work with my group out here is get them to think earlier about building that team, at least the core of the team. So when it comes to February and they have to submit the first set of goals, it's not something they wrote down on the 30th of January for themselves. Somehow we have to, and I'm not sure what the answer is, but I'm just finding that they're just not thinking the team concept this early.
Thank you, Randy. And I think that's something with my messaging and stuff too, that this is a team thing. This is something you can involve a lot of people in. And I understand a lot of people don't even have their cabinet secretaries or treasurers or who they're going to all bring on board yet. And that's where, you guys have already gone through your build a team step. And maybe that might have been a little early for some of these people. I think we got to come back around again and reinforce that process that, the timing can be different for every one of you. But I hope that you are smart enough to understand that you have to go through this process when you are ready. And hopefully it's not June 30th. It's got to be, and especially this, and that's why I think the second half of the season here is very, very critical. So that they really, the first part was, they're getting familiar with it. They're confused. They're scared. I think the second half, we got to re-emphasize and go through that entire process with them again, that maybe they weren't ready for it a month ago or 2 months ago, but they damn well should be ready for it after their group leaders are done with their training in February. And that's when we really got to hit it hard and really focus that, are you guys doing right? And we're here to answer any questions or misunderstandings you have, but that's not easy.
Vice President Brian, this is Cindy.
Yeah, Cindy.
As far as building the team, do you think it's because in the past, the mentality was you don't approach anyone until the second half of the year out of respect for the seated governor's team? And maybe that's why they're not thinking in terms of teams right now and their team.
Absolutely. I was scared to, I didn't approach my district governor in front of me until January at my district convention. And I asked permission to start building my team, but you're right. And that's where we've got to work really hard as an organization to work on this transition of when do we start? Do we start too early? Is it the second half? And I know I'll have good discussion with Patty too, and what she's thinking for next year too. I really appreciated having a very, very early start with my group and with you guys helping that, because we now have tools available we didn't have before with Zoom and I know I heard a new term for Zoom and I love it. It's called the Fellowship of the Squares. So whenever we have these Fellowship of the Square meetings, we have these tools available to us and we got to take advantage of it. But you're right, Cindy, a lot of them are, and this is probably my biggest fear. I don't want to step on Doug's governor's toes and they don't want them stepped on them either. So I've said it a lot of times, but I know it's going to happen. So I think we need your help and assistance in how do we do this transition too, because this is something different that we haven't treaded in this area before, that I think we need to.
Vice President Brian, if I could jump in here for just a second. When we're talking about teams, I think we need to understand, and teams have been around for a lot of years, and Lions Clubs International has been promoting them for a lot of years. We have the teams already in place. The current governor team is there. The second and first vice district governors are part of the existing team. And what we're doing is changing the chief administrative officer every year. And we know who the ones are that are coming up. They need to understand that. You're going to be the chief administrative officer next year. So do some long range planning, get your plans in place. We have the global action team. So we already know our teams, global action team, the district governor teams. You have zone chairs that are there. Those are all part of your teams. Your club presidents, secretaries, treasurers, they can be all part of your team. Most of the cabinets that are in place are, they're part of the team this year and probably going to be part of the team next year. So it's just a change in mindset as to who the teams are going to be. The teams are there. Let's just take the teams that we have and make sure that, okay, next year, the person in charge is going to change. But the whole team should be creating the goals that are long-term. We all know that we need to make We need to strengthen our membership. That's not something that's going to change from year to year. Service is not something that's going to change. Leadership training is something that's not going to change. Just need to change the numbers a little bit. So I think we really need to push that message home.
And I think you're right, Rob. I mean, we've had these teams for a long time. When I was a governor in 2004, we started talking about that. Let the vice governors do some stuff. But I don't know how many districts are really looking at that yet. They're still all very siloed and isolated. And I think you're right. If we can change, and again, the staff, change the mindset that, you know, we have a revolving team, but it's only one step at a time. You're just revolving in and out with new people, but working together on this. And you guys all know I'm a big team player, and that's going to be part of my theme for next year too. That's going to be my message, is going to be about teams. So I'm hoping that can help with changing some of that mindset too, of being together.
And we also need to make them understand that is something that last year, my last 2 years of my groups, when I was group leader, and this year for the area, I've been trying to emphasize a lot to all the district governors and incoming district governors that in 1 year it's hard for you to achieve goals. If you have the mindset that goals you need to work on and just probably tweak it here and there to in order for you to improve your district, because that's our main goal, is to improve our district. It's not like, oh, I'm the district governor and my goal is to bring 200 members next year. That's it. That have nothing to do with it. No, if that's the goal, let's say put that 200 members in 5 years, and we work together with the next 3-4 district governors. It can't be only my goal. It have to be the district. So it's something that I'm trying to put that into their heads, that forget about yourself. You have to work towards your district success. It's not only you. You have to work towards that. And probably next year you tweak here and there, but why we need to change everything from top to bottom if that's never going to be achievable if we do that every year?
See, now you guys get it. Everybody on this call is getting that. And that's why I'm so appreciative of having the GAT people in here, because you guys have had that structure and you've got the same people in place year after year after year for, you know, for a time frame. You guys get that, and that's why I appreciate it. I think you guys can push that towards the end zone of this is something that's a continuation from year to year to year. I think that's a little harder with group leaders sometimes because they're working on a lot of different things, but you guys are all team players and team concept when it comes to GAT. And I think, and I'm really counting on you guys to push that home with these district governor elects and next year's district governors and the following district governors for the same thing. I think we got something good going here. We just got to keep following through and making sure that we're organized and communicating well. I think it can get better every year.
Along those lines, you know, we need to step back and look at the big picture. While we are working directly with certainly the district governor-elects, we have included the first vice governors and the second vice governors into the meetings that we've been holding and inviting them to be part of the process so that they could start to build on that team approach to whatever that they're doing. And certainly looking at the big picture, I know that Vice President Patty has initiated her approach to the second vice district governors, and with the first of their second vice district governor virtual events. And I would perhaps respectfully suggest that if we're going to have a team approach from the GAT group, we need to be included, or whoever is going to be appointed, approved to that group needs to be involved from the very beginning, rather than when it is just before that they go for their district governor-elect training, and all of a sudden we say, well, here is a group of GAT coordinators that'll be working with you. Perhaps there may be a way that we could involve the GAT or the GMA group right from the very, very start. So those second vice district governors can see the continuity from year to year rather than an abrupt stop and then start with a brand new group again.
Tell me your opinions. And from what I'm hearing today is you shouldn't be working just with the first vice governors. You should be working together with everybody, for sure the second vice district governors and the first vice district governors, getting that team approach and going through that whole process and making sure there's continuity from year to year to year. I hear you in saying that, and I think that's a good move. Do we roll in the district governors with your meetings and stuff as well, so that they are it worries me a little bit that you might hit some control of district. I don't know if you'd hit control of district governors and we bring all of those teams in together to continue to work on their process all the time or not. I'd be interested in your opinions.
I invite the district governors to any of the meetings that I have with the first vice, and the second vice governors are also included. Whether they attend or not is, another item, but they're included. And at the end of the session, when I send out notes, I send it to the whole group,
And not having any
including
problems with the group.
not directly, not that I know of. They seem to be receptive. They haven't come back to say, don't send me anything, or I don't want to be involved in any meetings. Sometimes they just don't attend for one reason or another. So
Yeah, so some of my monthly meetings, I'm getting more of the first VDGs, second VDGs than I'm getting, the district governors participating. It's a mixed bag of participation, but I extend my group is much larger than just the GAT focus of my area, and I think that's a benefit for everybody.
Yeah, it is. It sounds like it is.
well, that's a great thing about having the ability to communicate on Zoom. You can invite as many people as you want to. They don't have to travel to a certain location to meet. And so, we're able to invite as many people as we wish. So, and I do that. Yeah.
I always like to suggest to our present governors that they've been there now. It's 3 years for them. They've gone through this process. And now we are working with the first vice district governors and preparing their year. And I encourage them to be mentors. What have you learned along your travels to be a district governor? Along with the goals that you have set now, what do you see can be different? What can be long-term? What doesn't need to be in the particular goals that the district team is developing? And also to encourage that with the first and second vice governors coming up. And I think when you look at it that way and use that mentorship aspect, that they kind of see where and what their position is.
Well, I'm seeing this structure as a key, and you guys again have done just a fabulous job and an outstanding job, and I can't thank you enough. But I don't want to overstay my welcome here either, Jerome. I know you've got other things that are going on. This was a huge insight for me to make sure that we can stay on the right track as well, and especially with long-range planning and executive meeting coming up in the next couple of days, that I can share some of these comments with as well, to make sure we can stay on a good path and improve that as well. Any other final comments? If not, I just cannot thank you guys enough with your passion and everything. And we'll work hard, and I'll stay in contact with Jerome on how we can make this second half successful. I'm counting on you guys a lot to push the membership is going to be a big thing for me next year with this process. So I can't thank you all enough and really appreciate it.
Vice President Brian, we're honored that you would take time with us to have just an honest and open discussion, and that you would be so open to our comments. And we appreciate you listening, and we're here to help. We are on your team, Team Brian or Team Sheehan, and whatever we can do to assist, we will. Working together, we are going to turn membership around one smile at a time.
Well, my door is always open to you guys. You guys know my emails. If you knock on my door, if you bring pizza, I would appreciate it. But I'm always open to you guys. And we're all in this together.
We're still waiting for the penguins anyways.
Jerome, I will pass this back over to you, and I'm gonna stay on for a little bit if you don't mind until I have to leave.
You stay on as long as you would like.
Thank you, bud.
And we do appreciate your time very much. Lion Richard Castillo, it is time for your comments. And this picture was made at Ivy Green when he had the opportunity to visit Ivy Green. This is the pump where Helen Keller learned to say water.
Oh, wow.
Lion Richard?
Thank you, Patty Thompson. So as everybody saw the message on Friday, I'm moving over to the membership division as the new membership engagement specialist. And things and roles and responsibilities will evolve along in due course time. But I really have to say it's been nothing but a pleasure and honor working with everybody since I started as a GMT specialist to the Global Action Team specialist, supporting everyone from CA1 to all the way up to CA2. You know, I think we've done an incredible job in regards to the collaboration, as well as also the engagement that you guys have taught me in engaging with Lions and how to best support them in your areas as the best as I can do as staff, but also taking the things that I've learned, also utilizing that in my success as a club president during COVID, as a district GAT coordinator, how to best support my area in regards to service and also driving the GMA process that District 1A has seen in the last 2 years so far, since I've been active within my district. But I don't think there's enough words or time for me to explain like my level of gratitude. I think you all have provided me a different perspective. And when the decision came for me to what I wanted to do in the next course of my chapter as a Lion, I wanted to evolve with the organization. And one of the things that I think it's a good fit, I think the level of engagement, the engagement specialist is a perfect role, not only just for me, but as a transition into something that I'm very passionate about. As many of you know, I do like get involved in a lot of different membership activities. And I think it's only appropriate that I take the skills that you've all taught me about your different areas, all the way from Texas to California to New York and the New England states and the South, and also the greater areas of Canada, of understanding that if we're going to move the association forward, we need to have that different mindset on being able to develop engaging materials that are going to be utilized, that are simple to use and not hard or difficult for somebody from the district level to the club level can actually utilize that, so they can achieve some level of success. And this is not going to be the end of my collaboration with GAT. You know, I know the value of GAT. We've been working together for the last close to 5 years. And I think me going over to membership will give them a different perspective of what I've learned from all of you and my interactions with different Lions across the world when I do my service activities stuff. But thank you. And you guys can't get rid of me that easily, so who knows? I'll just be popping around different areas of the association till I get to the top. Who knows?
Richard, thank you very much for all your support to me and to the team. And you will be missed, but I'm so proud that you're still in the building. And from time to time, we may call on you for your wealth of knowledge and your assistance, because you have really learned to network within that building. And we appreciate it, because you always are able to provide us an answer, a resource, a solution. And thank you very much for all that you've done as we've worked together for the last almost 5 years.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, thank you, Richard. And we're going to move to the GAT Chairperson's Medal, and we're going to call on Lion Guy to assist us in understanding how this medal is going to work and what our role as a GAT in the distribution.
Great, thank you, Past Director Thompson. So last year we received feedback from the field that GAT leaders needed a stronger way to recognize outstanding Lions. So in response, we've created the GAT Chairpersons Award. And so at the start of each Lion year, each GAT constitutional, regional, and area leader is going to receive 10 medals, which can be presented to individuals who exemplify the best of the Global Action Team in their respective areas. So the medals for the 2021-22 Lion year are currently in production, and we expect to have them to you in late January or early February, provided we don't run into any kind of supply chain issues. But hopefully that's when we're expecting to get them. We'll let you know when they ship. So once received, you can start presenting the awards to deserving Lions right away. And this award it's recognized at the international level. So once you've presented it to someone, be sure to report it, the recipient, back to Lions International so that staff is able to add it to the Lions record. So the reporting form that you would use, it's still being developed, and it's being developed in JOT form, which is the same platform that district goals are submitted through. And we'll provide further details when it comes online at the end of February is when we expect that to become available. You can either submit them one by one as they're entered, as they're awarded, or wait until all of them have been awarded, and there'll be a way to submit them all at once using like an Excel spreadsheet. It's up to you which one you do, but whichever way you do it, all recipients need to be reported by June 30th. And we will send out a reminder of that deadline at in April to remind you that they need to be in by the 30th.
Guy, will Rob and I both get 10 medals to distribute as well?
Yes, that is my understanding.
And then if someone waits to June 30th to report, then it's possible that Rob and I may award the same medal to the same person that an area leader has already given. And so we've got to coordinate that communication as well, so that one person doesn't end up with 2 medals.
Okay, that's a very valid point. Okay.
Yeah, I'd just like to jump in. I think that's a really good point, PID Thompson, that we'll take back to find a way that maybe we can work on a tracking mechanism so that that is visible to all of you, so that if it's given by one of your area leaders, that that you can pass that on to somebody else.
The other question I have, Michael, is like with presidential medals and leadership medals, the president puts out criteria that says you can't award it to the same person more than once every so many years. Is there going to be a similar rule here so that one person just doesn't begin to collect a whole series of 4 or 5 years of medals?
I think there's nothing in the criteria that says they can't they could obviously 1 per year, but Noel, correct me, I don't think there was anything that was in the criteria that says they can't get it in six central years.
Yeah, that's correct. And we are still working on the technology solution to be able to track this more effectively. As mentioned, we're looking at JOT form for now, but ultimately we'd like this to be a part of the Lion record in MyLCI or future platforms so that it could be more visible. And since some of these could be given for service or membership or leadership or supporting the campaign or LCIF, I mean, I think somebody could possibly receive this in succession each year, but I think it's a good point, PID Jerome, that we should look for ways to encourage this to be given more broadly rather than used as something that could just be continually given to the same individual. So, but this is very valid feedback and we appreciate this. This is the first year that we'll be rolling this out, and we can certainly evolve our approach and our guidelines to support this recognition. So thanks for the comments.
May I suggest, this is Polly, may I suggest that I know that LCI is sending each area leader with 10 medals. So there's no engraving whatsoever that's going to be on those medals. That perhaps there is a way that we can note the year, if not the name of the recipient, so that if in succeeding year, if the same person was to receive it again, it would be for a different year of service.
That's on the
Something to
medal.
think about.
That's on the medal itself.
Is it on a medal?
Yes.
Right there
Oh,
at the
okay.
top,
Yeah, I didn't
2021,
see that.
2022.
Okay, I
That's
stand
correct.
corrected. So it's 21, 22. I see it now. Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
Guys,
so
you've got
yeah, I
more to
can
say.
Yeah, I just had a few more bullet points here. So so what we're looking at on the screen here are just some examples of the achievements you may want to recognize with this award. But please know this is not an exhaustive list, and the award can be given for other reasons as at the leader's discretion. So all active Lions are eligible to receive this award. However, preference should be given to those that are not eligible for other international recognition and awards, such as the International President's Award. You should have received an email last month. I think it was December 20th that went out containing much of this information. You can reach out to your specialist team should you need another copy of the guidelines or have additional questions after this meeting. And that's all I have on this. Thank you.
Any other area leaders have other questions, comments, or concerns? Guy, it appears
Just a quick comment. I think it's a good thing that we ensure that we don't give an individual 2 or 3 medals at the same time. I've seen that happen at a multiple district convention where they're giving, a leadership award, they're giving, all kinds of different awards, and the same person keeps coming in and they have a collection of 3 or 4 for that one year. I think we need to be really conversant with the GAT Chairperson's Award so that it is really special and that whoever is awarded that particular award knows what it is for in recognition of things and not just another one for them to pick up, so to speak.
Sure.
Thank you, Polly.
Miriam, I would say if the person has done an outstanding job, they should get the highest award if there's 3 medals, they should have the highest award and not have 3 medals.
Correct.
I mean, that's just my perspective, to make sure that they get acknowledged for the job that they did, but that they don't end up with 3 medals.
Thank you. Other comments? Hearing no other comments, we have a GAT webinar for Constitution Area 1. And it's the leadership team that is going to present. And that PowerPoint is in development, should be coming out in the next few days. But we're going to try to focus on some of the tools and resources that the leadership team has to help clubs and districts, and also some grants and money that they have to help districts and clubs. And to be quite honest, because of what we as a team have done, highlighting some of the resources that are available, almost every grant fund has been exhausted in the first 6 months of the year, which is great. That means that the money that's been budgeted is not just laying up there in Oak Brook, but is actually being placed with our districts so that we can increase membership, public relations, leadership, and things of that nature. And so everyone's doing a very good job. The one area that we really probably could use some focus and pushing is on our GAT grant, because the GAT $500 grant in the storytelling has not been effectively utilized to this point, but we still have some time. And as a group, we can promote that. But if you don't mind to promote people to register for our seminar, which is on January the 17th, and then to attend, I think it'll be a great day. I think that John Montgomery has a previous engagement, but some of his staff will be on there and do a great job of explaining the resources that are available from our leadership division. Questions, comments, concerns?
Jerome, I have a comment.
Yes.
The GAT for one district, the three of them sent in their stories and one got the funds. And it's only one amount of $500 for the district, not one for each area.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's $500 per district. But the last time I saw was a very low percentage of districts that have applied for their $500. Guy, can I ask you to send this graphic and the registration information out to all of the area leaders tomorrow or
Yes.
tomorrow? And then if you as area leaders will put it on your social media and share it with the people that you usually invite to your area meetings and encourage them to participate, that would be great. And then coming up is the build a plan. Everybody should be finished with build a vision and building the plan at lionsclubs.org/global is the PowerPoint for folks to use to build a plan. I know that I'm going to present the build a plan concept to some district governor-elects for some of the area leaders, and I'm pleased to do that. If there's any questions or comments that anyone has about the build a plan or the PowerPoint or how it's done, we'll entertain those now, or you can email and we'll entertain them later. Questions, comments, concerns?
Hey, Jerome, is it possible to get a invite to one of them that you're doing, just so, how should I say, helps organize a little bit?
Probably so. Winster, I think I'm doing that for you and Richard Stevenson.
Yeah, Dave, I can send you the invitation. It's the
Great.
24th at 9 my time. No, yeah, 9 my time, 7 Richard's time. So for you will be 8 Central.
Sounds good, boss.
I
Thanks.
send it to you. Mhm.
Now, Dave, are you Central or Eastern time?
Eastern.
Okay, it'd be 9 your
Oh, so
time.
we'll be 9. Yeah, I thought you were Central. 9.
I'll stay up late.
And
Winston,
all
will
right.
you send that to me too? This is Polly.
Sure,
Yeah. Thank
no
you.
problem. Mhm.
but
Winster, could you send it to Connie as well? Thank
Okay.
you.
No
And
problem.
Winston,
Miriam,
can you send
Okay.
it to everyone?
I send it to everybody. That's fine.
And then the build a plan we'll talk through is really, if they've had a good build a vision meeting and they have a lot of data, then the build a plan is pretty easy for them. And we're going to talk with them about stepping through that. It's sort of like Google Maps. You have to figure out where you are and where you want to go, and then write down every step and every twist and turn to get you there. But we'll talk about that with the groups. We'll answer some questions and move forward. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Henry Ford stole this quote from our Vice President Brian. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And for the last 5 years, we in CA1, the Global Action Team, every year has evolved. And I really meant to go back and look and see what our marching orders was from President Tam when he led the group originally in 2017. And that is when we had membership, leadership, service, all headed up by a different person. And in every area, we had 3 people. And then it was in 18 when it was consolidated and we become the 15 that we are now. And then even since then, we continue to evolve in the things we do and the thing and what our focus is. And so toward that end, it's time for us as a group to take just a step back and ask ourselves, what are our strengths among the 15, 16 of us? What are our weaknesses that we need to be working on? What are some opportunities that we can seize? And what are some threats to the Global Action Team that are out there? Now, it's 7:15 and I had hoped to have a discussion, but to be quite honest, I think that we're probably discussed out. And so what I'm going to ask everyone here to do is you think about the top 3 strengths, the top 3 weaknesses, top 3 opportunities, top 3 threats, and email those to me. And when I get those, I will compile them into a master list and I'll send them back out so that when we have our call next month, we can begin to reach a consensus as to which of our strengths we really want to focus on, which weaknesses that we're going to improve upon, what opportunities we're going to seize, and what threats we're going to minimize and avoid as a global action team moving forward. Because I believe if we do that, then we can build a plan and we can build greater success, because we're pretty darn good at communicating and sharing ideas and having opinions as to how to improve the system. Questions, comments, concerns about this first step of building a vision for a greater tomorrow with the Global Action Team and CA1? I put everybody to sleep, Richard?
No.
I'll send out an email tomorrow and ask for this information. Y'all be thinking about it, because together we are going to make sure that our team is the very best global action team in the world. I think we already are, but we are going to make sure that we stay heads and shoulders above all the others outside of North America. And so we've crammed a lot into 90 minutes. And so I'm going to stop sharing the screen and let everyone have their comments, questions, concerns, closing comments, as we have 13 minutes to go. I'll call on you, or if you prefer, you can just speak at your convenience.
Past Director Jerome, this is Rob here. I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to attend this meeting tonight. It's been very informative, and it's given me an opportunity to, gather a lot of information and see how well our teams are both working together here in North America. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Lion Rob, I appreciate you allowing us to share 3 area leaders who do a wonderful job of being international in scope. So thank you very much for allowing me to borrow some of your talent and help us in CA1. And I know that Pat Vanette also does a great job in CA2. Other questions, comments, concerns?
Just as
Past
your
Director Jerome, I think it's just great. We keep learning more and more each time we get together. Not only do we learn from the groups in our area, but from the Lions on the screen right now. And I think reverting back to the resources that our amazing staff keeps providing to us, and the resources to learn how to use the new technology so that we can share even more with our Lions out in the field is an even greater advantage for us. And we just need to keep moving it forward. So thank you for your leadership, and looking forward to the next 6 months.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you.
Hi, Jerome.
Go ahead, Noah.
Yep, thank you very much. I'll just take a minute to share my appreciation for all the work that this team does. It was awesome to get some very candid feedback from all of you just regarding the global membership approach. And I know I was taking notes. I'm sure the team was as well. So really appreciate the opportunity to be included and listen in, because we gained so much that we can take back to the other colleagues at LCI and discuss enhancements and improvements to programs or processes like the global membership approach and others. So thank you for including us. And I would also just like to say, since this will be Richard's last official meeting as a GAT specialist, thank you to you, Richard. All the great comments from this team are definitely a compliment to you and the work that you've done. And I would just like to acknowledge as well that I appreciate all that you've accomplished in your role as GAT specialist. And we look forward to continuing to collaborate with you in your new role in membership. So thank you, Richard.
And I would like to also second that. I mean, I've been working with Richard now over these years, and I actually knew Richard before he started here. When I was with Lions Quest, I worked on a project and met Richard at the UN. So Richard and I have known each other and go a long way. And I told him that he's not going to go far. I told him I could throw a tennis ball over the cube and still hit him in his new place. So he'll still be working with us, and I'm really appreciative of the work that he's done and the relationships that he's built with all of you. And we have a strong team that's going to be going forward. Richard will still be with us. Guy is fully onboarded and excited to go, and Karina's still with us on our cross border, and we're excited to keep moving forward. So thank you everybody for the hard work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you to Noel and Michael for those comments, and to everybody. Just one last GAT kind of like reminder for everyone who has an area where they have standing membership development grants, just remind your teams that Guy and Karina will be taking over as the lead. Guy and Karina will be in contact with those folks that I've been overseeing the grants in CA1 and CA2, them being in communication and ensuring that reimbursement and progress reports are being handled. But we're also mid-year, just to remind your folks to also kind of give you updates on their grants and where they're at, and also their reimbursements if they need assistance from us in getting accounting to process those. And thank you again for everyone.
And Richard, I'm in such a habit of inviting you to these meetings. I will probably continue to do that. And then you just pop in whenever you want to. You're always welcome. You're part of the family. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would also be remiss if I did not mention past District Governor Michael Gibbs, who helps us to celebrate the successes on our Facebook page, and the staff who is good to feed us information. Lion Michael, thank you so very much for being part of the team, part of the family, and helping us to continue to celebrate the many successes that we have across CA1. I appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
And Texas was one of those areas that ended up with positive membership growth and doing a great job and offering a lot of resources to us. Lion John, thank you so very much for your leadership out there and how you've rallied the troops and are producing great results.
Thank you. The area's did well through December in spite of the drops. Texas ended up positive. Oklahoma and Louisiana took some hits, but for the most part held their own. They aren't down so much that we can't recover from that in the next few months. We are going to implement a new program. I know for the meetings we've had before, y'all have heard me say that we have 2 or 3 districts that just won't get on board with us. And collaboration with our GMA champions here in Texas that have had success with the process, we're going to start a peer-to-peer program with those districts that are not on board, and see if we can put them in touch with people at the same level, with the GMA champion or the district governor team at the same level. So those that think that this is just another LCI program that we're trying to cram down their throat, we're going to put them in touch with the people that have been successful with the process at their level, and see if we can get them brought along, improve the process a little bit more.
That's a great idea. Thank you. Also, then on the 19th, we're going to have a meeting with Lions Quest coordinators across CA1, and there's up to 600 seats in that meeting. And we're going to begin to talk about how that we can use Lions Quest to form Lions Clubs, specialty clubs, Lions Quest specialty clubs across the United States. And so I will send you that link, and you're more than welcome to share that. I would really, once again, like to break the system. And if it'll accommodate 600, we need 650 people to show up, because we have 4,000 alternative schools across the United States, each of which could benefit from the social emotional learning of Lions Quest. We have foster care programs across the United States, and we have juvenile justice systems across the United States. It's a niche market. And Kimberly Haynes has agreed to take and custom make the lessons for Lions Quest fit the needs of the community, whether it's foster care, alternative schools, or the juvenile justice system. And we've got money with LCIF, Lions Quest for promotional meetings and also for implementation. And so we're going to begin to talk about that on the 19th. Lions Quest has agreed that I could go with them to the conference for anti-drug coalition directors in DC and begin to mine for some new clubs and some new interest. And so when we get back from that on February the 5th, there should be more news for us to share and hopefully move forward in the area of starting clubs and making up for our deficiency of clubs in the first 6 months. Other questions, comments, concerns? I just get excited about something. I just have to tell everything I know. Hearing no other comments, I thank everyone for joining us this evening. It's most valuable. Your input is so very important. And we will meet again next month. And from there, we'll continue working until we find greater success than we've ever seen before. And to the staff, all of you, Guy, Noel, Michael, Karina, Richard, thank you for joining us this evening. And you're always welcome to join us. Y'all have a good evening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Yep. Good
Yeah.
night, all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Take care.
everyone.
Stay safe. Yeah, bye.
I put two pictures on the chat if anybody wants them.
I dragged it out. Thanks. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I thought that went really well.
Thank you, Richard. And you know, I'll probably continue to invite you because it's just a habit and you drop in when you want to. Guy, will that offend you?
No, not at all.
PID Thompson, you're still recording, by the way.